Hey guys, Happy New Year! So I figured since it is now officially 2015, I would give you the top 10 books that I read in 2014. I read a total of 66 books this year, so picking 10 was difficult, but here we go. The first book I have to show you is Love Letters to the Dead by Ava DeLaura. I don't want to say too much about this book because I already did a review on it, so I will link that below if you want to hear me talk more about it, but I just love this book so much. It's so beautiful and the story is so relatable. I made one of my coworkers read this. Wouldn't make her, she wanted to. We were talking about it and she just said, I feel like everyone has been Laurel, the main character, at some point. And it's so beautiful. I just can't just read it. The next book I have for you is Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. This is another feminist book, surprise, surprise, that if you want to read about feminism and equality and all of that, it's like only a little over 100 pages. I read it in like an evening. The things she says are just so like hard-hitting and true, and it's just great. The next book I have for you is The Dinner by Herman Koch. This book is really interesting. It's about two couples who both have 15-year-old sons, and they are meeting for dinner in like a fancy restaurant to discuss something that happened with their sons. It also just explores like family dynamics and family relationships and kind of how far different people are willing to go for members of their family. Really good read. The next book I have probably talked to death on my channel, and that is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. It is about a girl who wakes up in the hospital and finds out that her best friend and her boyfriend have died when a building that they were all in collapsed. She was the only one who survived. Nobody really knows how she survived, and she starts hallucinating and seeing stuff, and you don't really know what's real and what's not real. It's really great. The second book is really great. I would definitely recommend reading these books, especially if you like creepy things, like creepy young adult books. It's really good. The next book I have is The Age of Miracles by Karen Thompson Walker. I read this book pretty early in 2014 and I'm still kind of obsessed with it. Basically, it is about an 11-year-old girl. Her name is Julia. The speed at which the earth rotates starts slowing down, and it starts to screw up gravity and their days and their times. It goes on from when she's 11 through like more of her life, and it's really interesting to see like what people decide to do and like during this time and the ways that they have to come up with to survive, and it's really great. I would definitely recommend it. The next book I have is Everybody Sees the Ants by A.S. King. This book, I have so much love for this book. This is a young adult novel about a kid named Lucky who's constantly bullied at school. He has all the stuff that he has to deal with at home. His grandfather fought in the Vietnam War and he never came home. And when Lucky goes to sleep, he has dreams about being in Vietnam with his grandfather and doing things with him and trying to save him and get him out. And it's so good. It's so good. Everybody read it. I can't say enough good things about this book. The next book I have is Someday Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham. This is an adult novel about a woman named Franny in the 90s who's trying to work her way to be an actress. She moved out to New York a few years ago. She set herself a 3-year deadline to like have like her big break or whatever before she had to move home and pursue something else. The book takes place, her deadline is almost over, so you kind of follow her trying to figure out what to do and all this stuff, and it's really funny. I found it really relatable as far as the being in your 20s not really knowing what's going on with your life situation. So if you are also maybe in that situation, I would recommend it. Also, just in general, it's really funny. The way that she writes is really entertaining. The next book I have is Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. I'm a little bit obsessed with this book, I think. I don't know what to say about this book because I think it's better to go into it not really knowing like what's gonna happen. There are 7 parts to this book. It's 7 different stories, but they're all kind of intertwined. It's really creepy and really well written and just so interesting. The like plot and story is something that I don't think I've ever really read before. I love it so much. The next book I have is Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. This book is about a 9-year-old named Oscar whose father died in the World Trade Center on 9/11. Oscar finds a key in his dad's things and goes on a mission to find the lock that matches it. This book is so moving. I definitely cried. It's a wonderful book. My 10th favorite book of 2014 is I Am the Messenger by Markus Zusak. This book gave me all the feels. This book is about a guy named Ed who is 19? I think he's 19. He's an underage cab driver who starts receiving playing cards with like addresses on them, and he doesn't know who they're from or really what they're about, but every place that he goes, he ends up having to either help or hurt the person who he finds there. It's so good. It's so good. If you haven't read it, especially if you liked The Book Thief, you definitely have to read this. Alright guys, those are all. Hi buddy! There's a cat in here. Do you want to say hi to the internet? No? What? Uh-huh. Come here. This is Ethan. He doesn't really like being picked up. You may recognize, oh, bye. You may recognize him from some of my other videos where he screams in the back. Anyway, those are my top 10 favorite books that I read in 2014. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite books that you read, I guess last year, were. And I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.